Hey guys, Master Dragon here, a challenger player in NA, and recently a new patch has come out, new junglers are popping up into the meta, and after playing a few solo queue games, I'm here to discuss who I think the top 5 junglers are for this patch. So at number 5 we do have Nocturne. So Nocturne has always been an average pick, but Rigo's Lanterns has made him a stronger champion, he farms better with it. His ganks are really strong after level 6 since he does carry a semi-global ultimate, which means he can gank from the Fog of War. He can also counter gank with it if needed. He's also really good at picking people off since he does have that global ultimate, and he can stick to his targets with his Q plus his E, and of course he can probably finish them off with some help. And Nocturne does also have pretty good base damage, as a level 5 Dustspringer does give him 55 bonus AD. And of course if he does get really fed, he can start split pushing and can come into the team fight faster than the guy he's split pushing against. So some cons are that he does fall off late game, as he doesn't really have AoE, and at this point he probably cannot 1v1 the enemy AD carry or mid laner. His initiation isn't really initiation, it's more like a super gap closer, and well, it's just not hard CC. And his early game pressure is a bit mediocre since he needs to get in melee range first to land his hard CC. So at number 4 we do have Master Yi. I feel that if Yi can find that one kill early game, he can literally snowball after that. Like if he sees a fight at bottom, he can just teleport in and clean up the fight. So figuratively speaking, Master Yi can carry a game by himself. He is also a good 1v1er, which also makes him pretty good split pusher. And since he is running TP, he can come late to a fight, which is good since they'll probably have blown all their skills and he can clean up the fight. So Yi is a great farmer because his Alpha Strike does hit 4 people, and thus he can get his Feral Flare stacks quicker. So some cons of Yi are that it's hard for him to pressure early game since he doesn't really have any crowd control, which means his ganks are really weak, and so early he can't really pressure the map efficiently. And second, he is really squishy, so he can be blown up really easily. That means if he makes a mistake in a team fight, it could be the reason that the team loses the team fight. Up next, we do have Xin Zhao. I am Chinese, and I like to shove my spear up your ass. So Xin Zhao is like a mini Pantheon. He comes in your lane, gap closes onto you, and then knocks you up into the air. In a gank, I'm pretty sure Xin Zhao does actually more damage than Pantheon, but of course Pantheon is more reliable. Xin Zhao also probably does a lot of damage in a gank since he does reduce a person's armor, and if the fight keeps going on long, he does have his gap closer up for a second time, which also slows, and I feel that's really powerful. Like if you're a laner and you're watching this video, you know how annoying it is for Xin Zhao to come into your lane and gank you. Xin Zhao is also a very easy champion to use as he doesn't have any skill shots, and all of his skills are really easy to use. So some cons of Xin Zhao is that he's not the best initiator, he can only really go on one person, and if he doesn't get the knockup via someone flashes or has an escape, then he won't land the hard CC for his team to follow up on the focus target. So Xin Zhao is a very heavy gank jungler, he needs to be pressuring the map and just getting kills everywhere, so it's fairly hard to get the Feral Flare, and his clears are mediocre. Regardless of this, I do feel that Xin Zhao is a really strong champion at the moment. He brings a lot of high pressure early game, and can snowball lanes easily. Up next, we do have Gerald Butler. Like Xin Zhao, Pantheon is really good at pressuring the early game. Like when Pantheon ganks, he does get a 1-second stun on someone, and someone's gonna blow a flash or die. Also when ganking as Pantheon, the enemy jungler should know that he should not counter gank, as most 2v2 situations Pantheon does win as he does have his passive, and early game that makes him really tanky. Which also means that Pantheon is a really strong duelist. Pantheon does bring a global ganking ultimate, which means he can just camp bot after 6, maybe get a double kill and pick up Dragon after. Pantheon also has really good high pick potential, since his ultimate places him somewhere behind the enemy, has very high base damage, and once he falls can stun a prime target and his team can follow up on that. So some cons of Pantheon is that he kind of falls off late game. His damage kind of lowers, but his CC is still there. Pantheon does not really have any escapes except his W, although it is unreliable when a minion is around you, and if caught out can be picked off. And one of his biggest cons is that he does have really bad clears. His E is pretty useless in the jungle and all he has is his Q. And at number 1 we do have Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix still remains very strong even with the new Feral Flare introducing new champs. Of course still pre-6 he's going to be a little bit weak, but once he hits 6 he can probably duel anyone, as his passive does keep resetting, he does take 50% reduced damage in stealth, and of course he does have really high base damage. He also still has a good amount of gap closers as his ult does give him a bunch of movement speed, and of course his leap is a gap closer, and of course it can reset. And he's really good at picking people off. Let's say you're a support trying to ward, and all of a sudden this bug jumps at you and you know you're not going to get away. He's going to keep slowing you, he's going to keep on you, he's going to do lots of damage. You just can't get away from him. And with the changes to his ultimate previously, he's still very hard to kill, as that damage reduction is pretty powerful. So some cons with Kha'Zix is that he has a decently high skill cap. because I feel that whether to know when you can jump in or when to jump out is what most Kha'Zix players should know to be good at Kha'Zix. But usually if you build 10 Kha'Zix, usually you'll just jump in and take them out your damage and keep going in. So Kha'Zix doesn't really have any hard CC, doesn't have any stuns, no roots, no knockups, but he's still a really strong champion. I feel like Kha'Zix's presence in the game is really high, and he should always be prioritized as the number 1 jungler to pick for a team. That's how powerful I think he is, and I'd always prioritize him over any other jungler. So hey, thank you for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out my other tier lists, as I do have one for middle, top, support, and AD carry. Also, some questions will be answered for the first few days after this video is released, so comment below and I'll try to get back to you. And I am Panzer Dragon, aka Luigi Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.